Almost anyone traveling to Bolivia makes it a point to visit the Salar de Uyuni. It's the largest salt flat in the world, and a most spectacular sight to behold. The Salar de Uyuni stretches for a total land space of more than 4,050 square miles of the Altiplano. This thick crust of salt was left behind after the evaporation of prehistoric lakes. It is estimated that there are about 11 billion tons of salt in the Salar de Uyuni. Therefore, unsurprisingly, it is a buzzing location for the extraction of salt and lithium. In case you didn't know, lithium is the element used to power smartphones, laptops, and electric cars. There's a group of local workers living in the Uyuni area who harvest these here. You're probably wondering what Salar de Uyuni translates to in English. Salar means salt flat in Spanish, while Uyuni is the name of the town that's closest to the salt flat. In Aymara language, Uyuni means a pen, or an enclosure. The prehistoric site is the world's largest salt flat, and covers a landmass that would easily accommodate 150 countries, and even a couple more. Every year, local workers at Uyuni extract about 25,000 tons of salt from the site, which is then sold in Bolivia, and also exported to other countries around the world. If you go there in the dry season, you can expect to find hundreds and hundreds of conical salt mounds, scattered all over the flats, waiting for exportation. Until about 40,000 years ago, the Salar de Uyuni used to be a part of the prehistoric Lake Minchin, which extended for the most part of southwest Bolivia. However, soon the Andean uplift happened, and the salt flat started to form. With the emergence of the Bolivian Altiplano, Lake Minchin gradually dried up, and left behind the salt deposits everyone is now fascinated by. There are still a couple of lakes in the area right now though. One named Pupu and the other named Uru Uru. There's also one other, smaller salt desert besides the Salar de Uyuni, called the Salar de Coapasa. So, when is the best time to visit Salar de Uyuni? Well, that really depends on you and what attracts you the most about the Salar de Uyuni. You can go during the rainy season, which begins in November, and ends around April or May. When the rains fall, the salt desert transforms into a ginormous salt lake that perfectly mirrors the sky. A very shallow one, though, as it is only about 6 to 20 inches deep and is traversable both by boat and by truck. So, if you want to see the Salar de Uyuni as the world's largest natural mirror, then the best time to go is during the rainy season. You'll be able to take awesome photos of a seemingly never-ending horizon. Plus, you'd also get to take amazing reflection photos. But it's the nights that will completely floor you. The sunsets are beautiful, and the way the stars appear double, thanks to the reflection by the flats, could make you shed a tear. Of course, you'd also have to face some pretty realistic issues, like how the rains could make the terrain more difficult to navigate. You could easily get stuck while driving, so, in your best interests, maybe get a 4WD vehicle. And yeah, one more thing about going in the rainy season. You get to miss out on certain activities as well. For instance, you won't get the chance to ride a bike across the flats. Plus, tour cancellations are more common during the rainy season. On the other hand, if you're more fascinated by the salt flat, or maybe you've seen the natural mirror and want to try something different, then go during the dry season. Dry season in Bolivia begins in April, and ends in October. If you go to the Salar de Uyuni during the dry season, you won't get to see the mirror effect. But the view is still pretty spectacular, especially when you get to see how the white expanse just seems to stretch on forever. By the dry season, the ground hardens up to form a vast, white expanse that appears as a patchwork of connected, interlocking hexagons. The best types of shots to take at the Salar de Uyuni during the dry season are the perspective shots. Trust us, they never get old. Just make sure to bring your props along with you, and you can have massive fun. You could stage epic battle scenes with toy dinosaurs, cook your buddies in giant pots, crawl in or out of peanut butter jars, or even hold your friends in your palms. If you want to get really great perspective photos, you want to keep your camera low to the ground, and make sure it's as close to your prop as possible. This angle is what makes the prop appear way larger than the humans in the photo, who should be standing farther away from the camera. But your human subjects shouldn't be too far away, though, because if the distance between your prop and your subjects is too far, you'd hardly be able to keep everything in focus. Also, if your camera can do that, adjust your aperture to be as narrow as possible. Another good thing about visiting in the dry season is that you'll be able to check out other locations that are typically inaccessible during the rainy season. One place you definitely want to check out is the Incahuasi Island, a location famous for its unique cacti. Keep in mind though, that June to August are peak season for tour operators. So prices are usually highest during that time. Now, if you want the best of both worlds, that is, if you want to see the mirror effect, as well as the endless, white salt flats, then you might want to visit around late March or late November. If you're lucky, you'll be able to find parts of the flat that are dry and other parts that are still covered in water. Are the salt flats the only thing to see at Salar de Uyuni? Not exactly. There are other locations you might be fascinated by, like Isla Pescado or, in English, Fish Island. This is one of the biggest attractions at Salar de Uyuni. It is located north of the salt flats, and has beautiful cacti that reach heights of 10 meters. The peak of the island also gives an awe-inspiring view of the flats, as well as the Andean mountains. Some people say, Isla Pescado gets its name from the Aymara ethnic group, who are believed to be the first group of people to settle in the area. Others say the name, Island of Fish, was given to the area because it appears to have a semi-ellipsoidal, or fish shape, when viewed either from the west or from the east during a salt flood. Coming down toward the south, you'd also find an endless sea of blindingly white salt acres, extending continuously toward the Chilean border. And if you keep going, you'll get to another endless expanse of desert, this time, red in color. There, brightly colored, and mineral, lakes flow, and support the herds of vicuñas, as well as flamingos, which live there. In fact, this region is a breeding ground for one of the rare South American flamingo species, the James. Other species, like the Andean and Chilean flamingos, are also found there. One more place to check out is the antique train cemetery. In the past, the town used to be a distribution hub for trains transporting minerals to the Pacific Ocean ports. Eventually, the mining industry failed in the 1940s, as a result of mineral depletion, and so the trains were simply abandoned. This resulted in the quite creepy, yet oddly fascinating site, that is now known as the train graveyard. If you are looking for a cool place to stay at, when you go to Uyuni, you should know that the world's first salt hotel is also found here. Many tourists stay there when visiting the site. By salt hotel, we do not mean that's the name of the hotel. We mean the hotel is built entirely of salt. Even the chairs and tables in the hotel are made from salt. Definitely something you want to check out on your tour to the salt flats. But beware if you choose to stay there, though. The Hotel Playa Blanca, the salt hotel that is, has little by way of living amenities. There's no electricity at the hotel and water supply is not constant. In fact, water has to be trucked in from the nearby town. So, if you're going to be there, bear that in mind. What it lacks in amenities, the Salt Hotel more than makes up for in serenity, a breathtakingly austere beauty, and a most beautiful view of the night sky. And with that, we'll be calling it a day. We hope you found this video interesting. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.